before your evaluation for the final exams. Now, I know as adults, as as older people, we always tell the younger ones, study, 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 right? And somehow that does not resonate. I mean, I don't want to study. I really cannot physically don't want to study. How do I study? Right? I mean, there are so many things. There is the internet. There is the reels you can make. There is Instagram. There are so many things happening in the fashion world. There's so many things happening in the music world. BTS. I'd rather go crazy about them. It's so distracting. It's a very colorful world out there. And your books might seem very boring. I mean, who wants to read books when you can do so many things, right? And as adults, we never seem to understand that, why do we keep studying, right? So how do we motivate ourselves without somebody telling us that, this is what has to be done? You know what? I don't mind the tea. Excuse me.
So what? Table.
Just give me a minute. Can I take this?
Roller.
Oh, that's
Roller.
So I guess we are all friends here, so yeah, it's tea. Yeah. So what do we do? How do we? What do we do? Parents don't seem to understand us. Okay. Teachers don't seem to understand us. Study, study, study. You have a corner of your house. Okay. A small corner of your house where you set up a table and a chair. If you don't have that corner of your house where you have a dedicated spot for doing your homework and your classwork and not classwork, your homework and other things, set it up today. Set up a chair, a plastic chair, a table, even a small laptop table, anything. Just set up that dedicated corner in which you have your books, right? And I'm sure most of you have it. If you don't have it, set up a dedicated corner today. What you do is arrange your books, arrange your pens, pencils, whatever your school, college stuff, and you keep it there. Every morning, 1 hour, you pull the chair, sit at your chair, and look through your books. No, don't study. Don't study. Just look through your books. Look, see what has been done the previous day in class. Right? In the evening, do the same. For 1 hour, no mobile phones, no TV, no BTS, no outside world. Just 1 hour. 1 hour to the dot. Sit at your table. Okay. Pull your chair. Sit at your table. Look through your copies and your books, even your pens and pencils. Right? What we are doing is we are rewiring our brain. We are bringing our brain, which is floating outside in the glitzy world. We are making it habited. Not habited is not the correct word. We are making it rewired. We are trying to deliberately feed it new information that the brain. So 3 days you do it. On the 4th day, automatically, without thinking and without being stressed, at 6 o'clock I have to sit at my table, you will automatically sit at your table. Because habit formation at your age takes only 3 days. Good or bad takes precisely 3 days. And this is not what I am saying, this is what neurologists and psychologists have said. Okay? 3 days. So if you want to get into a good habit, you need precisely 3 days. If you want to get into a bad habit also, it takes 3 days. Right? So every day, for 3 days, you sit at your table, study, not study, it is up to you. On the 4th day, 5th day, 6th day, 10th day, you will automatically start reading. You will automatically start doing a little extra than the homework that has been given to you. Then the test for which you have to prepare. Okay? Because if you are out of touch with your books and your copies, you don't feel like going back to them. But once, every day, they will become, you need to make friends with your books. Okay? So, they don't seem to be so daunting. Oh, I got social science, math, science, I don't even know what's inside there. But And once they become your friends, you will not be scared of them. Once you are not scared of them, you will open your books, you will try to solve a maths problem, you will try to solve a science equation, you will try to learn a theory. Okay? So you try that. Okay? So don't force yourself. Nothing comes from forcing. Make it easy. Okay, fine. Today I will just arrange the chair and the table. Fine. Today I will not do anything. Tomorrow I will arrange the books. I will see that if my copies have run out of pages, I will purchase new copies. I will keep my pencils and my pens properly. Okay? Make it systematic. Your study table, make it clean. Okay, don't keep other stuff there. Make it clean. Don't have pictures of film stars and things like that on your table. Keep your place clean. Once you do that, like I said, your books will become your friends. Right? And you want your books to become your friends because you don't want to read something which looks so daunting to you, which looks so difficult to you, right? Okay. Then what else do you do? We have conquered that stage. That now, no matter what happens, morning 1 hour, evening 1 hour, we have got into the habit. Once we get into the habit of spending 1 hour at a study desk, we will increase that to 1.5 hours. Okay? So that before we have any test, okay, before we have any test, a class test, we will not stress out the night before. I see small children, little children, you guys are literally little to me. On the day of the exam, my father was dropping his daughter. This lady was, opened, I don't know if you guys do that, had opened her book and had placed it on her father's back. She was sitting in the back and she was reading in the scooter. Nothing will enter your brain in the last hour, trust me. Going to school, some are sitting, they will come out of the house very early, sit before entering the school premises, they will be sitting outside reading. That does not work. Brains don't function like that. All you are doing is adding to your anxiety, which when you grow older will really be a problem. Because when you are young, you don't understand exactly what tension is, what anxiety is. Okay? You just do things, okay, I have to do this, I have to study. You are not even understanding that you are telling your brain that before an important event, you must be anxious. Because you are always, last minute if you do stuff, your brain becomes anxious. You understand the meaning of anxious? Okay, so you become an anxiety. Okay, anxiety is a disease which has taken over the first world, the third world, the second world, whatever worlds we are talking about. Which means as adults, when we step into our adults, all of us, I'm talking about our teachers, all of us, diagnosed or undiagnosed, including me, we have some sort of an anxiety disorder. Which means that we are not able to function well under pressure. Okay? Then we become very tense if there is if there is some flight to catch, if there is a train to catch. Most of us and most of my friends in their 30s, in their 40s, do not sleep the previous night before taking a flight or a train or making a train journey. Why? Because of anxiety. And why is that anxiety? It's because during our childhood, when we were growing up in our pre-adolescent years, we tuned our brain, we made our brain anxious by doing things at the last minute, by giving our brain undue pressure, by not being prepared for a last minute task. Okay, for always keeping our studies at the, I completed my master's and my bachelor's. I remember we had very little working days at that time. There were some problems, some political issues at that time. So what happened was we studied today for a particular paper and we would appear for the next day. Okay, so that anxiety when you are in your early 20s, which you don't understand, affects you at a later age, and you don't want that. The new generation does not want that, trust me. Anxiety is not fun. Tomorrow, if I have to travel, I know today I will not be able to sleep. Nothing, I will not be able to do anything. Okay? So, many of my colleagues have sleeping pills on a regular basis. Not because they're very sad with their lives. Okay? Not because everything is wrong in their lives. Nothing is wrong in their lives. Nothing. Okay? They have nice families, loving families, etc. But because of that pressure which they have built up knowingly or unknowingly in their brain, they're anxiety prone. And being anxiety prone is not fun. Okay? So the way we can do it is not just about study. It's about how you are, how you retune your psyche, your brain. Since you are very young, this is an absolute golden time for you to train your brain. Okay? Your brain will not control you. You should control your brain. That you should train your brain to function. Tomorrow when you grow up, you will be able to take up challenges without feeling anxious. Okay, you will be able to do things at the last minute without feeling anxious. What will I do and go into a panic? Right? You will not panic. So then, of course, there's another problem for youngsters, whether you are to school, college, university. Many of us do not know how to communicate. One, we do not know how to communicate our needs. Two, we do not know how to communicate our emotions. Three, we do not know how to communicate, as in communicate about what we know, what we want the other person to understand. Why does that happen? Many times you might be fighting with your parents and saying, or elder ones, you don't understand me. Right? How many of you have said that at some point of time in your life? To an elder person, you don't understand me. How many of you have said that? The school children are still okay. So, here, boys and girls, the little ones, the class 9, 10 students, everyone understands you. You don't have any problem. Don't you think to yourself that nobody understands me? Has that feeling ever come to you? I'm a full-blown adult. I still feel that some people don't understand me, and especially the people who matter. That, why don't you understand me? Does it happen to you too? Do you feel that people do not understand you? The ones in your life? One reason might be we do not talk to the other person because we cannot control about what the other person thinks or does, right? But we can control our responses, our behavior. We can control our behavior. We are not responsible for the reaction of the other person, but we can control ourselves, right? So how do we communicate? How do we communicate in the sense that the other person understands their boundaries and respects our boundaries? Because many times it happens, especially in India, because we don't equip our children to talk about boundaries, to tell the others that this is all right, this is not all right. Our boundaries are overstepped many times. Okay, I'll give an example. I don't want to confuse you. For example, if you don't like a food, let's say bitter gourd, you don't like it, okay? Your parents or wherever you visit insist on giving you bitter gourd. That this is good for your health, you must eat this. And you don't like this and you don't want to eat it, okay? And there is a perpetual tension, there is a perpetual fight. How will you resolve the crisis? Now, I cannot go and take a orientation class for your parents, right? Then don't force him or her to have bitter gourd. He or she does not like it. What I can tell you is that you can communicate more effectively instead of saying, don't give me that. Okay? That will only annoy the other person. Right? That will only annoy your parents. Now, the bitter gourd, you can replace it with any other example. It's not just a vegetable, anything else. You can say that I don't like the taste of it. Simple things. It might not be the exact words. That I don't like the taste of it. So I will taste a little bit. Please do not force me to have more than that. So when you speak in clear terms, your parents, your elders will also understand that you are also making a compromise, that you have said that you have come halfway, right? But calmly reacting to the situation. If you say no, I will not eat, you are not to throw, I want to do this, that, you are only making the other person angry. And what you are doing is that you are not being able to communicate your needs. Because you are not being able to communicate your needs, you remain frustrated. And that again carries on for a very long time. Many of us don't even know why we don't like some, there is always some, and I will fight you on this if you disagree with me. There's always one aunt or one uncle or a granny or a grandfather in our family whom we don't like or whom we like very much, right? The person we don't like as we grow up, we don't even know why we don't like that person. We forget. But we somehow, when that person comes, we're like, no, I don't want to meet that person. Somehow, it's because we have not been able to communicate what we want to that person. And we feel that that person is always dominating over us. So as young people, you need to be very clear in your thinking, very clear in how you communicate to your family members as well. So, anger is a very good emotion. Okay, people who do not get angry are not passionate, and those who are not passionate cannot do great things in life. Because whatever you do, you need to be passionate about it, right? Anger is a very important emotion if used correctly. Okay, if you are, especially in this day and age, if you're just chalta hai, it's not going to get you anywhere, right? So that passion, that anger, that positive anger, that why can I not do it? I have to do it. That anger has to be channelized properly. So this is just some tips. Like I said, this is not the gospel truth, but this is something which a course in psychology helped me to understand. And this is something that when I talk to my master's PG students also, I try to tell them, right? Beside that, when we talk about communication, it is not just about what we say. It's also how we say, which means the language that we say in. In the household, you don't have a problem, right? Because all of you speak the same language. You communicate to a friend, speak the same language as you, right? Who does not, or a teacher who does not speak the same language as you, or even a stranger, or even your travel companion. How do you communicate with them? Like it or not, blame it on the colonial legacy. We have two languages at our disposal. In the Northeast, it's mostly English, right? The fact that I am speaking to you in English is also a testimony to that fact. So our communication skills in English has to be good, right? And how will that be good? How are we supposed to speak good English if we do not converse in English with our friends? It might be funny, right? To talk to your friends in English, but English is a necessary evil. Whatever exam you write, whatever paper you write, whatever study you do in the future, it has to be English. Your way of writing has to be English. Your method of writing has to be English. So you have to improve that skill. So you read books. What books? Textbooks do not contain all the knowledge of the world. Trust me, it does not. Your school, college, university books are not do not contain all the pearls of wisdom that they are there. How do you learn English? I always tell my students to read an English newspaper. Read your local dialect newspaper also, not a problem. But make it a habit right from your childhood to read an English newspaper, a national daily. Now I am going to be very controversial about this. Not a regional daily, not an Assamese or Mar daily, no. An English national daily. The Telegraph, the Hindu, the Indian Express, they come a day late in Diphu, but that's alright. Because if you, at first you will just want to read the comic section, The second day you might want to read only the astrology section. Okay, you might not want to read the real news, but that's completely okay. You will slowly get into the habit of reading the newspaper. And why I mentioned Indian Express, Times of India, and the Hindu, specifically, is because of their editorial, right? So it's because of the editorial. It's a little complicated. Yeah, yes, thank you. So it's the editorial portion of it, where English is very, very good. All right. In you can understand the English, and what will happen is when you write your answers in any public exams, etc. When you are writing your exam, you will find those words that you have read in the newspaper, your vocabulary will increase. Okay? Your vocabulary will increase, which means when you are writing your answer, and you cannot predict the questions in the examination, right? You cannot predict exactly what question will come for the examination. So when you are writing an answer, those words that you have read perhaps in the newspaper or you might have heard in a news channel will come back to you, right? Because you remember, we are still training the brain. You have trained your brain to read the newspaper every day, and you, as a result of it, because English is not our first language, our language will automatically, our vocabulary set will automatically increase. Okay, maybe you will not understand all the words in the newspaper or whatever you hear on the news television. What would you do? You will take up a dictionary. Now, students these days have forgotten to use the dictionary. Everything is Google. I was just telling Marilyn, I got pretty lost. One, I have no sense of direction. Two, Madam Google totally took me off. She showed me the nearest route, okay, to this place. So she took me to the backyard. She she dropped me towards the back of this particular building, which means it's not an entry for the car. So again, I had to turn the car, I had to maneuver, and then I had to go back to the highway. I met Marilyn, and then I came back again. Google told me a shortcut. Now, as a human being, as a person who is in the practical situation, that shortcut was not feasible for me, right? It was not feasible for me. So Google does not contain all the knowledge of the world. Just remember that. Okay. Whenever you are in doubt, you have the habit of looking up Google. I suggest to all students and children sitting here, buy a dictionary. Nothing is as what is the word I'm looking for? Is as good as or pleasing to look up, turn the pages of a dictionary, or maybe I'm just old fashioned, and finding out the meaning of a particular word. Because with that word, you will learn several other words also. You are always prescribed a dictionary at your school level, right? But I think it's the last thing that you use, Google Hannah, right? So don't trust Google in everything. Because, sorry, and don't trust books also. There is a wider world out there. Anyway, so English, whether you are in school, college, or the university, English is something that you will have to deal with throughout your life. And since you have to deal with that particular language, speak in that particular language, you might as well learn the language properly, right? So once you do that, you will, as far as your careers are concerned, you will be able to do well. At least you will be able to speak fluently and be able to, and your problem of communication, etc., will be great. Many times we cannot communicate to what we want, what we need, our anger, our love, our emotions, because language is a barrier. You might not feel it at this time when you are nicely protected in your house, with your parents and your family members. But tomorrow when you go out to the world and you see that you don't have the strength of the language with you, you will be at a loss, right? And especially because we are in the Northeast, and especially because we speak so many different languages, it's for us, for the Northeasterners, it's always more of a burden. We need to know Hindi, we need to know English, and we need to know a regional language also. For example, because we are here, we need to at least understand Assamese, right? So I would say that we are very bright. Why? Because I will not expect a Marathi or a Bengali or a Gujarati to know Assamese, Hindi, English, and some other languages. So, being from the Northeast, I think I know Khasi, I know what is it, Nepali, Assamese. So, my friends get stunned that we know so many languages. So, what I'm trying to say is that all of us sitting here are very intelligent. Why? Is because our cognitive skills, the language learning skills, which marks the intelligence of a person, is very, very high. Like I was listening to Sir. Sir was speaking in his regional language, and he was seamlessly, transferring to English, right? Not many people outside the Northeast can do that. That two totally different languages, right? And all of us can do that. Okay, we speak in one sentence, we speak Hindi, next sentence we speak English, next sentence we speak our mother tongue, and the next sentence we speak some other regional language. It's not uncommon for us, right? And we take it for granted. And we say we don't think it is anything. But trust me, our cognitive skills are more developed than people in the so-called mainstream. And yet, we have a slightly inferior complex. It's 2024. I still feel that students from the Northeast feel that they are lacking somewhere. Okay? Don't feel very confident. When it comes to fashion, very confident. Okay? But other than that, students don't feel very confident in their own knowledge. You feel that somebody from some other caste and community is always better than you when it comes to reading writing. And till today, I've not been able to understand why. Because you guys, like I said, and I repeat, are very, very intelligent, very, very bright. Because language is not something that a dumb person can pick up. 3-4 languages are not something that somebody with no cognitive skills can pick up. Which means that you can receive and process and store the signs of an intelligent person. So why would you not do well in your academics? Why would you not have the confidence to say that you are as good or as bad as a Bhettacharjee or a Sharma? Right? So that confidence, I must see, there's a difference between confidence and cocky. Cocky is what most of the Gen Zs are. Cocky is, who cares? I'm scared. Okay? No, that is not confidence. That's just being cocky. That's just being, okay, you are trying to hide something, you are trying to cover up for something that you don't have. Okay? That's a very loser mentality. Confidence is, I am good. I am as good as the other person, if not better. Okay? And I will do my best. I will continuously improve myself by reading, okay? By listening to news, by disciplining myself, and I am as good as the other person, even better. Right? That confidence will help you choose a career. Many of us don't choose a career outside the comfort zone because we feel that, how will I adjust to this new place? How will I go out from Diphu or wherever we are? If I go to the south, then how will people behave with me? If I go to Delhi, how will people behave with me? No, once you get that confidence that you are good and better than others, I don't think that that problem will be. You will not be so scared of mixing and like again I say we cannot control the other person's reaction. But as us as individuals, we can control our own thoughts and habits. Right? And this is what we will try right from the time you enter class 8, class 9, class 10, graduation, and on to your postgraduate degrees. Alright? What else would I want to tell you? And what else can I tell young people in this too? Now, yes, most of you are good in singing, right? Some extracurricular activity you have, something, singing, dancing, something, some cultural, something. What I'm trying to say is actually cultivate a hobby. Cultivate a hobby which is very important at your age. Okay? And it is even more important even for adults. Very important to have a hobby. Because if you don't have a hobby, in your free time, all you will be doing is watching reels. So if you have a hobby, you will take time to spend on that hobby. And sometimes your hobbies can become your careers also. Yes, now I remember. As far as careers are concerned, we okay, let me ask this, okay, I will not take too much of your time, maybe another 10 minutes and I'll wind up. Because they are very young people here, what if I ask you, what do you want to become tomorrow? I mean, where do you see yourself, let's say 10 years from now? Do you want to be a teacher, an IAS officer, or anything? Can you tell me? I'm so fascinated by this small group for that smallest in terms of age. Tell me, what do you want to do? क्या मतलब है? Social media influencer? Huh? How many of you? Social media influencer? It's not bad. It's not bad. You don't have to laugh about it. It's bad. It's good. Nice. What else? Who wants to become a teacher? Let's put it that way. How many of you want to become teachers? No? Teaching is that boring? Nobody wants to become a teacher. Good. Who wants to become a police officer, let's say? No? कुछ तो बनना है ना? Something you want to become. Where will you get the खाना? कहाँ से मिलेगा? You have to earn money. Huh? What do you want to become? Even the older ones, come on. You must have some life goals, right? Without life goals, you just sitting in the and after that you will yawn and go back home and sleep. Huh? Come on, this is a very young group. Come on, crowd. No one wants to become anything. खाना है, सोना है. Yeah? क्या बनना है? Something? Yes, please. Oh, how sweet. All the best. Sit. Anyone else? Who wants to become a doctor? Then nurse, doctor, engineer? No? All. Doesn't matter. You still are very young, and it's not that you have to have a goal. Okay, I will become a doctor. I will become an engineer. I will become an astronaut. Doesn't work that way, perhaps. But yes, it's always nice to have a life goal. It's always nice to think before you go to bed. To think, where do I see myself for the older ones 5 years down the line, for the younger ones 10 to 15 years down the line. Does sound that way? Where do I see myself? You have to picture yourself. Okay? And once you picture yourself that 10 years down the line, where do I want to be? Do I want to be wherever? You have to picture yourself. Once you picture yourself, it's always easy to work towards that goal. That you can't wake up one day, right? When you brush your teeth, you rub your eyes and say, hello, I am a doctor. Right? You have to prepare for that. or you want to continue further studies for that, you already have to do well in your mental or whatever you are doing before that. So there's no fairy who will, who will flip her magic wand and, everything will become rainbows and unicorns. It doesn't work that way. You will have to work towards that. Right? Again, I come back to what I said at the beginning. That you will pace yourself out. You will work, but you will not be anxious about it. You will have a clear line of action that this is what I want to do. Doesn't matter if some days you fail, some days you are not able to sit, like I said, every day you should sit at the table and chair. Okay, some days there might be a family emergency or you might not be feeling well. It's all right. You don't have to sit at the table and chair and you don't have to feel guilty about it. Okay, trust me, as your previous generation, all of us have some guilt or the other. Without even doing anything. I mean, we always feel guilty about something. It's ingrained into our psyche. We always feel guilty. We feel guilty that we did not take care of our parents. We feel guilty that we could not give our children the best. Something or the other we are always feeling guilty about. You should not get into the habit of feeling guilty. I'm not saying that you commit a murder and not feel guilty about it. Those are extreme cases. We are not talking about those things, right? But don't feel guilty about not being able to do something which you have set yourself out to do. Learn to forgive yourself. Learn to be nice to yourself. If you're nice to yourself, others will be nice to you. And lastly, I'm sure since you are on social media, I'm sure you watch a lot of motivational reels, etc. Something which I knew even before all this affirmation reels, etc. came out, and I share with my students is this. For those who feel low on confidence, okay, that I am not good, I am not pretty, I am not handsome, I am not tall, I am fat, I am thin, I am thin, I am not intelligent, all those, no. You look into the mirror every day look into the mirror, you can say positive things like, you are good, I love you. Look at the mirror and say, you are beautiful. Or if you cannot say all that, do one simple thing. Give yourself a high five in the mirror. You think you can do that? Every morning. There is this lady, Jill Swan, and I have learned that this high five theory I learned from her. She says you look into the mirror every morning and you give yourself a high five. Okay? You are okay. Just say 3 words. You are okay and give yourself a high five. That mere act of giving yourself a high five in the mirror gives you positive vibrations. Okay? It's why do we do high five? Our team has to high five. Right? Why do we do that? Because it's a reflex action. It's like we are celebrating a moment. When we're giving a high five, you're celebrating something, right? So when you give yourself a high five, what you are actually doing is you are celebrating yourself. That you are instantly giving yourself positive energy. Okay? So there are things that I have done. There have been times when, because of personal problems, I've been absolutely at my lowest point in life. There are times which I God forbid does not happen to you, but there are times in our life as adults when we find that we just don't have anyone to talk to because, like I said previously, no one will understand us, right? So we cannot share that. So what I used to do for some time, and this a priest told me, David, just pat myself on the back, it's okay, this too will pass, it's okay, don't cry. Or if you cry, it's okay, okay, fine, you have cried for 15 minutes, now get up, have tea. Talk to yourself. If you feel that you don't have anybody to talk to yourself. Because you are your biggest friend and your biggest enemy as well. How you approach yourself, how you train your mind, how you train your brain is the person that you will become. Okay? Have I bored you enough? Alright. Is there anything else that you want to talk to me about? There are so many things that you have here. And the thing is, I know you. I don't think I'll be able to sit for so long. You are a nice audience. Anything that you want to talk to me about? Anything? Any question? Anything? Yes, please.
I want to ask about one thing. It is why Assam University failed campus to have lack of faculties.
I'm sorry, we have?
Lack of faculties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially for the science students.
Yes.
Why we don't have that faculties?
Okay. Now, since you asked me the question, I'm going to a little bit of controversy because I cannot give you a straight answer without something controversial. The fact is, Assam University Diphu campus is a medium of Assam University Silchar, right? So we are a satellite campus. Because we are a satellite campus, like it happened all through the 19th, 20th century in the colonial world, where Britain colonized its exploited its colonies and did not pay attention to it. Something of this sort has happened between the mainland and the periphery. We are the periphery. So what happens is that the central government funds don't come directly to the Diphu campus. It comes to Silchar. Okay. Now, Silchar is responsible for dispersing the funds to Diphu and including recruiting faculty. So, suppose our department, history department, does not have a faculty, we can take a resolution that this faculty has resigned and we need a faculty. Now, we cannot advertise on our own. We send to Silchar. Silchar will have its different panels and expert opinions, and they will decide how many faculties they'll give us. Okay. So somewhere between Silchar and Diphu, there are so many things that get lost, including recruitment of faculties. We have, in our own department, we just have 3 teachers. We are taking the help of tribal studies, we are taking the help of our research scholars, because there are too many courses, and Mary will attest to that. There are so many courses, they expect us to know everything, which is impossible. I might be good in modern history, but I might not know anything about ancient history. At least not enough to take a 1 hour full-blown lecture for PG classes. But that is something that is so political. This issue is so political. Teachers have protested at some point of time, like all protests. There was a high power committee, etc. We have again taken that matter up. The high power committee recommendations have not been fulfilled. So we are working, but it will take time, and till we are an independent university, and I'm not saying that tomorrow we become an independent university, till we are an independent university, this gap between the periphery and the mainland will remain. And I actually feel bad for the RPG students because they don't have a proper arena to play, to a part, or the campus, that charm, that romance of university life is totally missing from Diphu. Okay, I feel for you guys, but hopefully, maybe in another 5 years, we can only be positive, things will change. So, yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't have a positive response to you. Anything else? Anyone else? Yeah. Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you for listening to me. All right.